Autobiography of a Yogi. Chapter 1. My Parents and Early Life. The characteristic features of Indian culture have long been a search for ultimate verities and the concomitant disciple-guru relationship. My own path led me to a Christ-like sage, whose beautiful life was chiseled for the ages. He was one of the great masters who are India's sole remaining wealth. Emerging in every generation, they have bulwarked their land against the fate of Babylon and Egypt. I find my earliest memories covering the anachronistic features of a previous incarnation. Clear recollections came to me of a distant life, a yogi amidst the Himalayan snows. These glimpses of the past, by some dimensionless link, also afforded me a glimpse of the future. The helpless humiliations of infancy are not banished from my mind. I was resentfully conscious of not being able to walk or express myself freely. Prayerful surges arose within me as I realized my bodily impotence. My strong emotional life took silent form as words in many languages. Among the inward confusion of tongues, my ear gradually accustomed itself to the circumambient Bengali syllables of my people. The beguiling scope of an infant's mind, adultly considered, limited to toys and toes. Psychological ferment and my unresponsive body brought me to many obstinate crying spells. I recall the general family bewilderment at my distress. Happier memories, too, crowd in on me, my mother's caresses and my father's proud admiration of her. She was well versed in the Shastras. Her rolling down of her eyes to visualize mental scenes still comes vividly before me. She implanted in me the love of God. She was my earliest guru. My father was a strict disciplinarian, a man of few words. At his glance, obedience was exacted. At his word, no child dared to remonstrate. He was a kind and just man, yet stern in principle. He never forgave lapses in truth. I cannot recall any occasion when he spoke a lie, either to his family or to strangers. His capacity for work was prodigious. My father was an executive of the Bengal-Nagpur Railway. He had risen to that position through self-effort, not family influence. His motto was simple: work honestly and be frank. Mother and father were an ideal couple. The general family impression was that their lives were made in heaven. My parents were deeply devoted to each other. Father never spoke a cross word to mother. Her unfailing sweetness, her patience, her ability to carry the burdens of a large family with serenity, kept harmony in the household. I recall her often sitting quietly, lost in prayer, her eyes uplifted in devotion. Her character, rich in spiritual qualities, shone with humility and strength. She was my constant inspiration. My parents' example set a high standard for their children. They lived simply, gave generously, and regarded honesty as sacred. Truth was a principle never compromised. To them, religion was not a matter of mere ritual, but of daily practice. Father's stern adherence to right conduct and mother's spiritual devotion blended to create a balanced upbringing. Their home was a place of discipline and devotion, of love and reverence. They inspired us to live with integrity and to remember God in all things. Such was the sacred atmosphere of my early life. In this environment, my heart turned naturally towards spiritual aspiration. Even as a child, I longed for God. I dreamed of saints, of caves in the Himalayas, of a life in communion with the eternal. The stories of the great ones of India, told by my mother, nourished this longing. She spoke to me of sages who had renounced the world to live in divine contemplation. These tales ignited my imagination. My greatest wish, even in childhood, was to find such a sage and become his disciple. It was as if an inner memory guided me. I felt that I had walked this path before. The call of the Spirit was already strong within me. Even in the midst of play, the thought of God would rise before me. My companions often found me absent-minded, but my mind was absorbed in higher visions. The contrast between worldly life and the call of the Spirit was clear to me even as a boy. This tension marked my early years. Yet through it all, my mother's guiding hand and my father's example gave me direction. I was blessed indeed to be born into such a family. My mother was a woman of deep spirituality. Her faith was her strength, her devotion, her joy. In her presence I felt peace. She often spoke to me of the saints of India, of their miracles, of their wisdom, of their love for God. These stories awakened in me a sense of destiny. I knew I must one day seek such holy company. My father, though stern, was also deeply spiritual. His religion was of practice, not show. He had little patience for hypocrisy. His devotion was quiet but unwavering. His strength of character, his honesty, and his fairness left a lasting impression on me. From him I learned discipline. From my mother, devotion. In this blend of stern truth and tender love, my childhood unfolded. It was a time of innocence and wonder, of early struggles and inner discoveries. But above all, it was a time of awakening to the deeper call of life. Even then, I felt that I belonged to God. This feeling never left me. Often I would sit alone in the garden, gazing at the sky, wondering what lay beyond. I would close my eyes and imagine the saints of old meditating in their caves. Their example called to me. My heart longed for their company. I resolved even as a child that one day I would find my Guru. My early childhood was not without trials. Illness and weakness often confined me to bed. In those times I felt both helpless and restless. Yet even in sickness I turned inward to God. My prayers were my refuge. They gave me strength when my body failed me. My family, though puzzled by my moods and tears, never withheld their love. Their kindness helped me endure those years. Mother's gentle presence, especially, was my comfort. She was ever patient, ever loving. Her spiritual influence upon me was profound. She encouraged my devotion. She nourished my longing for God. To her I owe the awakening of my soul's quest. She was not only my mother, but my first teacher on the path. In our home, Religion was woven into daily life. Festivals and prayers marked the seasons. Scriptures were read aloud. Saints were honored in story and song. These traditions shaped my consciousness. They deepened my sense of belonging to a timeless heritage. My father's discipline also left its mark. He demanded honesty and self-control. He believed in duty before pleasure, in truth above all. His example taught me the value of character. His strength gave me the foundation for my own spiritual resolve. Yet, even as a child, I felt the pull of another world. The outer duties of life seemed secondary to the inner call of the spirit. I longed to know what lay beyond birth and death. I hungered for truth, for liberation. This longing only grew as I matured. My earliest memories are filled with visions of saints and sages. I felt their presence near me. Sometimes I dreamt of them. Sometimes I saw them in meditation. Always they seemed to beckon me onward. Their silent call stirred my soul. Even as a boy, I knew that my life would be dedicated to the search for God. No worldly ambition could distract me. No earthly pleasure could satisfy me. My heart was already His. Such was the beginning of my life's journey. One of the vivid memories of my early life concerns a dream of my mother. She appeared to me in shining light. Her face was radiant with love and blessing. She placed her hand upon my head. I awoke from that dream with tears of joy. It seemed to me a divine assurance, a promise that God Himself watched over me through her love. Such experiences strengthened my resolve. They convinced me that my path was chosen, that I must follow it to the end. My childhood, though filled with ordinary joys and sorrows, was illumined by this inner call. It was this call that gave meaning to all I endured. As I grew, I longed more and more to meet the sage who was to guide me. I knew he existed. I felt his presence. The hope of that meeting burned like a lamp in my heart. It was the one great desire of my life. Years later, that longing was fulfilled in the person of my guru, Sri Yukteswar. But in these early days, I could only dream of him. I could only wait in faith, knowing that the divine would one day unite us. This faith sustained me. It carried me through childhood trials. It guided my steps as I grew into youth. It was the light of my life. Thus began the story of my journey, a journey from childhood longing to divine fulfillment, a journey blessed by saints and guided by God, a journey that was to lead me to my Guru and to the realization of the eternal self.